Hello, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your in-depth horoscope forecast for week commencing the 12th of August for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. This week kicks off with Jupiter starting to go forwards after a 4-month backward journey. That's something we can all celebrate. Jupiter is about expansion, it's about travel, it's about philosophy, higher education, anything to do with overseas connections, but it's also to do with a kind of essential fairness. And over the last 4 months, if there have been parts of our existences which seem to have been bogged down and restrained in some way, I do feel that things can start to pick up. Now, Jupiter is supported superbly by Mercury, which moves on Monday into the sign of Leo. It's actually coming back into this sign after its retrograde, and by the middle of this week is fully out of shadow. And this is going to see us all feeling much more outward going, much more upbeat, and a little less introverted. Its rotation through the sign of Cancer does bring a more emotional and watery element to the logic that Mercury asks us to embrace. But it is true on Monday that Uranus, the planet of freedom and of rebelliousness, does go into a retrograde itself, which will last until the 10th of January next year. I think if you have been making some changes to the foundations of your world, especially those that are more innovative, it's possible that some experiments haven't worked, and the interim period will ask us to look at those things afresh and to perhaps settle down the things that have been going well and perhaps find other things that may complement the different and innovative approaches we have been trying. But this is a week when there is also a full moon, and this full moon occurs in the friendly democratic sign of Aquarius. But with the Sun and Venus still in a glorious alliance all through this week, I think really what the Aquarius full moon is asking us to do is just apply a little bit of detachment to the things that we do feel passionate about, or the relationships that are really engaging our thinking, or perhaps it's a romance or a creative strand. It's about balancing, toggling between what's good for us as individuals and what we need to do to connect with other people. So if we get too caught up in our own agendas, that won't necessarily be such a good thing. Now, Mars is going to be leaving the sign of Leo this week and making its way into the sign of Virgo, where it's going to be through to the 3rd of October. Now, Mars moving into Virgo is an interesting one because Mars is about I, and it's certainly been emphasising that in its transit over the last 6 weeks through Leo. In the sign of Virgo, it's more to do with virtuousness, and it's therefore more about what we can do for others, being of service, but also making sure that we use the extra energy it gives us in an industrious, practical and productive way. So if we can get fitter, if we can sort out our diets a little bit more, if we can organise our existence to the point that they're working really superbly well, then we'll be surfing the energy of Mars really very successfully. So Mars in this area is a much more productive, practical and busy influence, not quite so social. But that social factor that has been so powerful in the heavens in recent weeks is still very, very strong this week. It is just finding that balance. But I think the combination of the Sun and Venus is glorious, and Jupiter going forwards is something that we can all savour. Your specific forecast, Sagittarius, is so exciting. The last 4 months may have felt like at times you were treading water somewhat. But now, with Jupiter, your ruler, starting to go forwards through to the 2nd of November, it's a prime opportunity to get a firmer grip on the things that are exciting you and that you do want to go forwards with. With Mercury, the planet of communication, returning to the sign of Leo, your mind can also be engaged with any topic or mode of travel or physicality which inspires you. In fact, with the Sun combining with Venus still for the third week, it's possible that you're connecting with people or someone who comes from a different cultural background to you, live at a distance. You may have overseas interests which are exciting you, but anything which expands your world can really switch you on this week. It is true that Mercury, the planet of communication, is also going to come out of shadow this week. So if something has been bogged down over the last 4 or 5 weeks in terms of a contract, an agreement, then I do feel that good news is possible this week. Uranus does go into a retrograde, however. If you have been thinking or have felt since March the 7th that your work situation or your overall life structure has felt like it's in a state of flux, you get an opportunity from now through to the 10th of January to think carefully about what it all means. Now, communication is something that a lot of Sagittarius people have a real passion for, but the full moon this week just suggests in the sign of Aquarius that you don't rush anything when it comes to your thinking. But on the same day, Mars is actually going to be moving into a superb location for you. He relocates into the sign of Virgo, where he's going to be to the 3rd of October. This is going to give you a lot more authority and clout and determination around your key goals and ambitions during that period of time. But together with your mentality so stimulated and your ability to craft your argument so skillfully on the back of that combination between the Sun and Venus, you really have a great chance to showcase any ideas or talents that are important to you with Mars's help. If you'd like to know more about personal astrology based on your time, date and place of birth, why not visit my chart store by clicking on the link beneath this video. You can buy a forecast and a character combination for 30% off, or choose to have a one-to-one live reading with me personally. But for now, good luck and goodbye.